I'm your host, Mark Good, and this is Remarkable, a podcast focused on people and stories worthy of your attention. And now, today's show.
So when that happened, and then I saw that Rob Portman was not going to run, I watched George Floyd die on TV, and I just thought to myself, oh my God, what is happening to our country? And I watched how we lost that unity. We become more divided. It's just more hostile, and there's so much vitriol. And so when Rob Portman said he wasn't going to run again, I said I should run. And as soon as I said that, it's like my life flashed before my eyes, and I thought I should run. I could give voice to a lot of people, and that's how the path started.
That was Tammy Wilson. She's a successful entrepreneur and single mom who's running for Congress in Ohio's 4th District. But who is the incumbent? Take a listen. You'll probably recognize him.
Well, how about this one? Who left cocaine at the White House? Biden administration doesn't seem to have time to answer these questions. Now Democrats say, how dare Republicans investigate Joe Biden? How dare they look into the money, the business, and the brand?
So, what does Tammy think of her opponent?
So the current representative is Jim Jordan, Congressman Jim Jordan, and he hasn't done anything for the 4th District in the 17 years he's been in office. He is someone that I would consider to be really anti-government. He doesn't believe in bringing funding back home to the district, even though 1 in 10 people are living in poverty in the district. So
Wow.
these are people that are struggling to pay their rent and mortgage. They're having to choose if they're going to feed themselves or their children or pay for medication or food, or they're deciding which utility bill is easier for them to pay at the moment. That's a big deal to me.
Is Tammy's assessment of Congressman Jordan accurate? Has he really done nothing for his district in 17 plus years? Join me in my conversation with Tammy and see if her vision of what a congressperson should do and can do for the 4th District makes sense for you. Welcome to another episode of my Remarkable podcast, and I'm delighted to have on the show today Tammy Wilson. And the exciting thing about having Tammy on today is that Tammy is doing my words, God's work, in running for office in the 4th District here in Ohio. We're going to hear a lot more about the 4th District. If you're a listener and are not living in the 4th District of Ohio, you may be thinking to yourself, why does this matter? Actually, it matters because this is about getting government to work. There's a lot of people that say, get government out of our lives. And we feel that way because we don't see any benefit to government. Tammy's one of those people who believes that government can work for its constituencies and is working to win a seat in the 4th District so that she can make a difference with the government for constituents. Tammy, talk a little bit about your background. Where are you from and those kind of good things?
I was born and raised here in the heartland of Ohio.
Cool.
And grew up here, and my whole family is from here. Like many people in Ohio, they are still here. So I am a born and bred, proud Ohioan. Have strong roots here, obviously. I come from a very military, patriotic family, but I live in Delaware, Ohio now. And a couple years ago when COVID hit, in 2019, I've been an entrepreneur for 24 years. And so when in 2019, I thought I would start something new. Then in 2020, COVID hit and I had to shut down my business.
Yep.
And I didn't qualify for any of the COVID relief funding because I had just started the business. I didn't have any employees. It was just me. And at that time, my son was still here in high school, the quintessential teenager that is the bottomless pit. And I thought to myself, I'm a single mom, small business owner. If they aren't helping me, who are they helping?
Right.
And it just baffled me. And I just felt this is exactly why people are so frustrated with government. It may look good on paper, but how it actually, their policies affect the average person is a complete different story. And it's a common theme with a lot of the things that they put out. I have a farmer who's been trying to get her farm to go green.
Right.
Obviously, that's going to help the economy and not the economy, but the environment and other things. But the way that the funding is released, there's so much red tape. So it's been 3 years that she has been trying to do this, and it's a very expensive process. It's a flushing system. She has a dairy farm, and it's $2-3 million to put in this flushing system that is going to eventually help the environment. So it's just a shame. But anyway, so when that happened, and then I saw that Rob Portman was not going to run, I watched George Floyd die on TV, and I just thought to myself, oh my God, what is happening to our country? And I watched how we lost that unity. We become more divided. It's just more hostile, and there's so much vitriol. And so when Rob Portman said he wasn't going to run again, I said I should run. And it was, as soon as I said that, it's like my life flashed before my eyes, and I thought I should run. I could give voice to a lot of people, and that's how the path started.
That's wonderful. Let me ask you a quick question, because I too have been an entrepreneur my entire career. What are the kinds of things that you did before the venture that you started in the middle of COVID? What were the kind of things that you did?
So I've been a life coach and business coach So I was a life coach before people knew what life coaches were. I've always been that person that people go to. My parents, they would call me the child advocate, because even at 6, 7, 8 years old, I was coaching my friends on how to resolve conflicts or get along with their parents or whatever. And so I've always just been that counseling type of person. So I thought about being most of my life, I'd anticipated or thought I would be a psychologist or psychiatrist. But then I was exposed to holistic life coaching, and that really resonated more with me because it encompasses your body, mind, and spirit. I am able to take someone who has been challenged with something, and we can get resolution with it within 10 minutes, a half an hour, where other people have been in counseling for 3 years and they're still talking about the same damn thing. So it's just a different approach, but it's extremely effective.
Man, that's marvelous. That's marvelous. Those sorts of skills will serve you well as a member of Congress.
Yeah.
Lord knows there's a lot of coaching that's needed there.
I also have a 30-year sales background. So where I've had my own business, I guess nowadays you would call it a side hustle, but my main occupation, if you will, has been sales. For that reason, I feel that would make me even a better congressperson, because I'm able to make those negotiations. I'm able to find the win for both sides. And I don't know if you're familiar with the DISC psychological metric.
No, tell me about that. No, help me understand.
A lot of times when big companies, they hire people, they make people take a personality test. It's one of them is called the DISC, and it asks you a bunch of weird questions, but it comes up with this psychological profile of you, of what is really important to you, how is it best to relate to you, and what is your approach to things. And it shows your strengths and areas of where you could actually use improvement. And so for me, I score in a 98th percentile in persuasion. And with that, with my psychology background and my sales background, that is why I feel like I would be a better representative than who we currently have.
No, I would agree. Let's talk about who's currently representing the 4th District. Again, for people who are not from Ohio but are listening to this, give us sort of the outline of the district geographically, what cities, towns it includes, and then let's talk about the current representative and what he has done for the 4th District in the nearly 17 years that he's been in office.
So the current representative is Jim Jordan, Congressman Jim Jordan, and he hasn't done anything for the 4th District in the 17 years he's been in office. He is someone that I would consider to be really anti-government. He doesn't believe in bringing funding back home to the district, even though 1 in 10 people are living in poverty in the district. So
Wow.
these are people that are struggling to pay their rent and mortgage. They're having to choose if they're going to feed themselves or their children or pay for medication or food, or they're deciding which utility bill is easier for them to pay at the moment. That's a big deal to me. There's farmers that he's voted against 3 farm bills since he's been in office. And we all know the monopolies in farming where there's 4 meat packers, and farmers have told me that They are not allowed to negotiate with the meat packers. So if they go to one, they have to stay with that one, because if they hear that they've been talking with this one, then they get blackballed, and it really takes away their ability to sell their product. Other farmers, they tell me their struggles of the seed and supplies that they have to buy. Prices have risen, but what they actually sell their food for that they produce has dropped dramatically. So they're paying more for their supplies, for their seed and everything, but their inputs have decreased. So a few years ago, they were getting $6 a bushel, and now it's $4. It's a problem. And he doesn't represent them. We in Ohio is the CHIPS Act. He voted against the CHIPS Act. If it were me, we've had a lot of plants and everything closed in the 4th District. I would have been fighting to get that plant here in the 4th District. I know plenty of people that would like to make $100,000 a year.
For
people against it. But the CHIPS Act, there's chips, these electronic chips that are in our electronics, our vehicles, and they needed that CHIPS Act to pass so we could produce more cars and electronics and things. And Jordan voted against it. So they're bringing this new Intel plant to Ohio, to New Albany. My constituents, they don't want to have to drive an hour, 2 hours to go to work. That's just crazy. But he should have been fighting to get the plant built in District 4 rather than just voting against it. They're talking about bringing the Space Force here to Ohio. He voted against that too. Again, he should have been fighting to get that put in the district to bring jobs to the district. I hear every day, Tammy, please, we need good paying jobs. And I said, I'm on it. I'm already talking with companies to bring jobs here. I'm talking with developers to build affordable housing here. So I'm already doing the work. I'm writing 9 bills. Jordan, people say he hasn't written bills. That's not true. He has. He's written bills. He wrote a bill that would require anyone that wanted to get an abortion, the doctor would have to do an ultrasound. He would have to explain in great detail the diameter of the fetus, the internal organs, the extremities, just put this woman through mental and emotional torture before she would be able to get an abortion. So he voted to raise the Social Security age and to not expand Medicaid and Medicare. He votes against the people 97% of the time, period.
What's incredible as I listen to you, first of all, he's been in office 17 years. It's a matter of public record what our government pays people like him.
Just about $3 million to not do anything. Do you know any job where you could get paid $3 million to not do anything, to just be a disruptor?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
insane.
And what's incredible to me, again, I've lived in other parts of the country, and on those occasions, it's not been often, but on those occasions where I needed an advocate in Congress, either to navigate through some complexity because I was trying to secure a contract or get an introduction at a particular agency, or just resolution of some issue, a passport, whatever. It was nothing for me to reach out to my local representative or senator, and honestly, they were on it. It was like, man, responsive, helpful, etc.
I just emailed you the map, but here it is.
Wow.
The light blue area. Oops,
right.
I don't know if you want to
yeah, I could see it.
Share your screen, but that's the map. It's not the duck district that it once was. People will still pull up that map, and I said, no, it's not that gerrymandered map. It's this one.
Yeah, no, we'll be sure to include that in our show notes so that people can understand. Because honestly, in just looking at this, it's a very diverse district, right? Because you're in a suburb of Columbus.
Delaware County is the richest county in Ohio. And then we have, and it's very suburban, where the other parts of the district are very rural. So in comparison, you literally, which I'm very comfortable with, we have people in Dublin, Ohio that are CEOs of AEP or Nationwide Insurance making millions a year. And then we've got people living in trailers on food stamps. It's just night and day. But I am very comfortable with everyone, so I can relate to everyone. My goal I want to be the people's congresswoman. I want to represent everyone.
Sure. So You've listed a series of things that Congressman Jordan has not done, and then you've talked about some bills that he's authored, but I doubt have passed. Would that be fair?
Yeah, no, they haven't. He actually introduced that abortion torture like 3 times. And thank God that didn't go anywhere.
Okay, so you travel, I know, the district frequently. That's part of your what anybody would do who's seeking to get into office. When you talk to people, and just straight out tell me, are the kinds of issues that Congressman Jordan talks about, writes bills about, are those the things that are top of mind to the people that you're meeting? Are those the burning issues that really matter to them?
He hasn't written any legislation in a very long time. Now, his whole agenda is saving Trump. That's all he does. Talks about the Democrats have weaponized the government. No, he has weaponized the government. He's literally attacking the district attorney in New York, the district attorney in Georgia, and for these people doing their jobs. And
Right.
He's harassing them. He is doing investigations and not pulling up anything because there's nothing there. And so, no, he doesn't represent the people in the district. And that is literally his job. Is the head of the Judiciary Committee. He is not an attorney. Yeah, he went to law school, but he has not passed the bar. The head of the Judiciary Committee.
Pretty incredible. Okay, so
Yeah.
we've talked about, you probably know this, but back in the early 19th century, there was a political party that was nicknamed the Know Nothing Party.
Oh.
It appears that Congressman Jordan is a member of the Do Nothing Party.
Oh, yes.
He just doesn't do anything. He
I
collects.
say that all the time.
Yeah, he collects hundreds of thousands of dollars a year personally as a salary. Then as a staff, you scale that up to $3 million. And then there's a phrase, I know this is sales, whiffum, what's in it for me?
Yes.
So if I'm a constituent and I go, what's the whiffum of Jim Jordan?
Yeah.
The answer is nothing. It
Nothing.
appears, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Okay.
If you want to suffer, he's your guy. People are like, why does he keep getting elected? Oh, it's the gerrymandering. No, it's not. That's not it. The reason why he keeps getting elected, one, people don't know who he is, believe it or not. You asked me, I travel throughout the district. I do. And I hear one of 4 things. F Jim Jordan. Oh, he's an a-hole. I can't stand that guy. He's an embarrassment to Ohio. Or I like Jim Jordan. And I say, really, what do you love about him? Because I really can't get past him not doing anything to protect those kids from being raped at OSU. And because I want that to be top of mind when people go to click on his name. I think that's really important. To me, that shows his character or lack thereof, his lack of moral compass. I think that's really important. We have a guy that did not protect the students. For those of your viewers who don't know what I'm talking about, Jim Jordan was the assistant wrestling coach at OSU at the time that Dr. Strauss raped close to 2,000 students when he was the athletic doctor. And it was common knowledge there that over 20 coaches knew about it. They would joke about it. A player would say, oh, I have a sore throat. Oh, drop your pants. The coaches would threaten the kids. You better straighten up or I'm going to send you to Doc Strauss. That was common knowledge. He took showers with the students and
Strauss did.
Jordan took saunas with them. He had a game that he would play with the students, the Sauna King. So he had an award for whoever could stay in the sauna the longest. And some weird things went on in there from what I've been told. And I think it's really important. It's actually a felony to not report abuse.
Right.
Several students have told me that they went to him and told him what was going on and that he just turned and walked the other way. He didn't want to know anything about it. I've heard stories and he was part of the recruiter. He would tell the parents, and this is what I've been told, that we'll take care of your child and they'll be in good hands. And then he basically fed them to a predator. I have a problem with that. One of the recruits, he was getting his exam by the doctor and the doctor started doing his thing. And the student jumped up, ran out screaming. Tammy, the head coach and Jordan took the student back in there to confront the doctor. Then the kid started getting violent with the doctor, so they made the kid leave the room. Strauss and the head coach stayed in there and talked with the doctor. Everyone saw that, so he can't say he didn't know. He's just a liar. I've never known someone who's been in the middle of everything but never know anything. And then when we look at January 6th and the incidents that led up to that, he and Mark Meadows were texting about all that they need to do is not certify the election on the 20th, and different things are on the 6th. So there were different strategies that he was working or coming up with or talking about, and tours that he did on January 5th and different things. But now he says he doesn't know anything. He turned his back on the students. He turned his back on the Constitution, as far as I'm concerned. He took an oath to protect the Constitution, and he doesn't do that. I think that's really important for people to know.
No, I totally agree with you. And it's really disgusting. For the listeners who don't know, OSU is Ohio State University, which is the largest public higher education entity here in the state of Ohio. I spent a lot of my time in Texas, so this would be like UT Austin. It's a mega school. There are a lot of people who love OSU. Their students are their
Buckeye Nation.
Yeah, Buckeye Nation, exactly. They don't like Michigan very much.
Nope.
Yeah, but the fact that he had that high profile there at a school of that size, and as you point out, for years did nothing when it was well known that this doctor was abusing students, is truly reprehensible. I'm old enough to remember in the 90s when they learned from Ken Starr that Bill Clinton had a sexual encounter with Monica Lewinsky, and the drumbeat of the Republicans was, we can't have a president who has that character.
Yeah.
And now you fast forward 30 years, and it's the Republican Party that's behaving badly in many moral terms, which is quite disappointing. But let's turn to talk about what your vision is for the 4th District and what you see your role to be, because it's wonderful to hear that you've been traveling the district, talking to people. Let's start with, first of all, what have you learned are the sort of burning needs and areas of concern of your rather diverse constituency? What are you hearing from people?
Jobs, housing, food. We have food deserts here. A lot of the grocery stores have closed. People are getting their food from dollar stores. That's not healthy. That's not healthy food. We have healthcare deserts as well. And I have a real personal concern about that. My aunt, all my life, my aunt and uncle, they had left Ohio. They moved to Arizona. My uncle was a foreman. He actually helped build the Bellagio in Vegas, and he was a big deal. Then all my life, all I heard was, oh yeah, we're going to retire, come back home and build our house in the country. So they did that. It was just a little too far from the hospital. And when my aunt, she collapsed, the ambulance didn't get there quick enough, and she lost her life. She died. And making sure that we have healthcare that is accessible to people, it's a really big deal to me. I take that personally. I care about everybody. I want to make sure everyone is living a good life. I don't want anyone. I spoke with another gentleman the other day, and he said, Tammy, please do something about prescriptions. I had to choose between buying food and my medication. And it's just really sad. I'm sorry.
No. So let me ask you, because some people would ask this question, what can you do or could you do as a member of Congress to address things like food deserts and healthcare deserts? What is within your sphere of influence to actually effectuate change and make something happen?
First, you have to acknowledge it exists.
Absolutely.
Step one. So I think that's a big deal, but there's plenty that can be done. The government comes out with different budgets every year. And so the job of the congressperson is to say, hey, I can use that money in my district. They've already budgeted for it. Jordan doesn't believe in earmarks. They're called earmarks.
Right.
He doesn't believe in that. And so that's why he never brings any money home. And that's why nothing ever changes. So, again, I would be be advocating for the people in my district. So when those different bills come up, when they are creating the budgets for these different programs or whatever, I'm going to speak up for that, for us, and say, hey, we need that here. that is what I would do. That is what you're supposed to do, other than voting against everything all of the time. Yes, I believe everyone should get up and go to work and you do your best, but damn it, our government is supposed to work when you need it, period.
Well, absolutely. It reminds me when as I mentioned to you my wife and I spent about 15 years living in Northern Virginia. We were consulting to the government. As a part of that, we met some members of Congress, a couple of senators, and I remember sitting next to one of those senators for breakfast, and I asked him, it was Senator Ben Nelson from Nebraska, I said, Senator, what do you consider to be the most important thing that you can do as a member of Congress? He said, Mark, he said, this is how much money the state of Nebraska and the citizens of Nebraska send to the federal government in income taxes and levies and all kinds of other stuff. He said, at a minimum, my job is to make sure that amount of money comes back to Nebraska and various investments and spending and so forth. He said, because look, if we're sending money to Washington, I want benefits to come back to my state. And that's what I hear you saying for the 4th District is you want the money that is coming out of the 4th District in income taxes and other taxes to come back in terms of benefits that can help those people in need, and food deserts, healthcare deserts, jobs, like you pointed, the CHIPS Act. Yeah. If Jordan had advocated for those 2 semiconductor factories to be built in the 4th District, as opposed to where they are now, it would have made a huge difference in terms of the economic impact.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these are jobs that people can get trained to do. They can get the education to do it. It's not like they would need to have a bachelor's degree to have those jobs. Some of the jobs are construction jobs as well as building the plant. So it's 10,000 jobs that we missed out on. It's a real shame.
So tell me, you've started by identifying a couple of pain points in the district. So food districts, healthcare districts, those are huge. What are some other things you're hearing from your constituents there?
Yeah, like jobs, like I said, they want to have good paying jobs that they don't have to drive an hour to. And I've done it. I've been there. If you have to drive an hour to get to work, guess what? You got to drive an hour back. That's 10 hours that you're away from home. That's when your child, and I have felt that pain too. If your child gets sick or they're hurt, you're not right there that you can just duck out of work and go take care of it and come right back. You know what I mean? It is a life changer when you have those type of challenges. That's why it is a big deal to have good paying jobs close to home. We talk about the community. We talk about we have to empower those families to have a good, healthy home environment, and having a good paying job close to home, that's part of that. We talk about crime and juvenile delinquents or whatever, but if they're in a parentless home, I saw the other day in the district, kids as early as 7 years old are staying home alone for most of the day.
Wow.
And way into the evening, because guess what? Their parents are working like 2-3 jobs. For me, I've worked 2 jobs and went to school as a single mom. It's not easy. It's not easy. Yes, you can. I believe everyone work hard. I grew up, my dad, he's 84. He still goes to work every day. He's just one of these people that can't sit still.
Right.
That's what I grew up with. But it shouldn't be so hard. Life should not be so hard. People should be able to go to work at one job, be able to buy a house, take a vacation, send their kid to college if they want to go. You shouldn't have to work so hard. You shouldn't have to work 2 and 3 jobs to hopefully take a vacation or something. So those are the things that are important to me. And a lot of these jobs, if you need benefits, you have to work 32 hours to get the benefits, but they will only schedule you 31 hours. Those are the things that I want to address as the people's congresswoman. Yeah.
Our people, and let's go back, let's turn this around and look at it from the point of view of Jim Jordan's office. The things that he talks most about, apparently, are making sure that Trump gets elected to a second term, a lot of discussion about abortion. When you talk with people in the 4th District, is that what comes to their mind? Is that what they say is the burning issue about where they live and what they expect out of their representative? Or other things that maybe Jordan is doing, those are just 2. What do they say about what you've talked about, health deserts, jobs? healthcare deserts, jobs, food deserts, etc. Do any of them say to you, yeah, I want to absolutely make sure that Donald Trump is elected again, and I want to absolutely prevent any abortions from happening in the state of Ohio or the 4th District? Do they say things like that?
No. I don't ever hear that. What I hear is he's an embarrassment to Ohio. He doesn't do anything to serve us, talk with people. And I listen to their grievances. And then I ask them, what do you think needs to be done? Because I believe that if you have an issue, I guarantee you probably have an idea of how to solve it. And so what I've been doing is I've been talking with people, I've been listening, and then I've been creating solutions and writing legislation. So for example, I spoke with one lady, her dad, who was 83. He called his wife one day and he said, hey, honey, I'm at the car dealership and I want to buy this car. And his wife said, oh, no, don't buy the car. We can't afford it. You know how car salespeople can be. He ended up driving it home. And so then he ended up returning it the next day. They charged him $5,000 to drive it off the lot. And I feel it's important to protect our seniors from financial fraud and from scams and things like that. I have another senior lady. She was 82 or 83. They're about the same age. And she was in a car accident. So she had to rent a car. So she went to the car rental place. Now the insurance company is paying for the rental. And the guy added all of this extra car insurance on her plan that she was not aware of because they don't give you papers to look at anymore. It's on an iPad.
Right.
We're talking about someone that's 83 years old, okay? And so she didn't realize that he had done that. Next thing she knows, it wipes out her checking account of $400 or $500. And she goes, I don't know how I'm going to buy food. And I am supposed to renew my car registration next month. And I don't know what I'm going to do. And I just, oh my gosh, I just felt so bad for that woman. People are living longer, which is really wonderful. But I think we need to protect our seniors because they don't have all of the wherewithal. Some people, not all people, but some people, they need a little assistance and we need to protect them from the financial fraud. We've all heard the scams of the telephone call or the text message, Grandma, I need your help. I need money. And they send it and it's just a scam, or the email scams, and people are falling for these things. And it's really sad. It's a big moneymaker. So I think it's important to protect people. That's why one of my legislation is to protect seniors and children from cyber scams. And another part of that is cybersecurity. We have the military that protects us physically, but if you get scammed or taken advantage of, or if your identity is stolen online, you're screwed. You're on your own. There is no help for you. And it is hard to get any kind of assistance when that does happen. I had a situation like that and I did call the FBI and I said, sorry, we don't handle that. And I was like, one thing that I do is, like I said, I listen to people. Now this is where my life coaching comes in. So I look at what is the core issue here? What is the root of the problem? Because I know if you don't address the real issue, the core issue, the root of the problem, you're not going to fix it and it doesn't go away. And I think one reason why people hate the government so much is because the government is notorious for only hitting the surface of issues. They don't really go for what the real true problem is. I don't work that way. And I listen to these issues and I do the research. So I spoke with a cybersecurity specialist in the country and he said, this is what we need to do. And so that's the legislation that I'm writing to for us to have the cybersecurity. We need to have a government entity that will protect us from these foreign countries infiltrating our airways and, disseminating mis and disinformation and trying to ruin our democracy and our country. We need to protect seniors from financial scams. We need to protect our kids from being exploited. I had a kid here in Ohio, oh my God, in my district, and he had a situation where he had exchanged personal pictures with someone. He didn't know he was getting scammed, and that person said, send me money or I'm going to post your picture everywhere. He killed himself.
Oh, no.
He killed himself.
Oh,
and his
it's
mother,
terrible.
oh my God, it is so heartbreaking. It is so heartbreaking. So his mom, she is getting the legislation passed in here in Ohio. So I want to take that federally. We've got to protect our kids from these scams, from the bullying, from the mental emotional torture online. I think that's really important. The Attorney General just came out the other day of having a warning label on social media and things. These are challenges that we didn't have when we grew up because we didn't have social media and stuff. So
Right.
we need to have, the internet is the World Wide Web, but we need to have regulations. We need to have guardrails in place to protect our people. It's just so important. So those are the things that I'm working on. When I talk with people, I talk with veterans, they have challenges about getting their benefits. And there's just so much red tape with everything. I'm writing legislation that's 1 or 2 pages. It's not 5,000 pages with everything in the kitchen sink thrown into it that it will not get passed. I believe in keeping it simple. About KISS, keep it simple. I say silly. But so that is my goal.
It's really interesting to hear this because as I'm listening to you and thinking about what an effective representative would be like and how they would act, you've identified a series of things that only a government like a federal government can address, right? Veterans benefits is an example, the cybersecurity, preventing fraud with seniors. These are all things that the federal government is the only place that can happen because the state of Ohio cannot, it doesn't have enough reach, it doesn't have enough resources, and the bad actors are coming from outside of the state of Ohio, right? These are things that only the federal government can do and should be doing. And to your point, the federal government exists to serve us. It's of the people, by the people. And that's really what the FedGov is about. Again, not working overtime to make sure that Donald Trump gets elected to be president. That's okay. If you want to spend some time doing that, okay.
Do it on your free time.
Yeah, do it on your
After 5.
Yeah, after 5. Exactly right. Yeah, but like you said, during your workday, you need to be working for the people of Ohio. And I've written down here a list of things that you've identified that are all a source of great concern, regardless of your income in the 4th District. Things like food stamps, so forth. And as you pointed out, healthcare deserts. One of the reasons why wife and I moved here just east of Cleveland is that we're a 15-minute drive from the main campus of the Cleveland Clinic. And that was deliberate because my wife has some health issues that if they ever got serious again, being able to go to the doctor quickly could be
important.
Could be life-changing. So having a distribution of healthcare organizations throughout the 4th District, right? Emergency care, hospital care, physicians is vital for where people live, as well as the distribution of food, because Ohio is a marvelous state in terms of its own food production. One of the things, again, we moved here about 3 years ago, and I was just astounded at how much was locally grown here. Wonderful, delicious food. And yet it has to be distributed. So if there's areas of the 4th District that are not on the distribution route for this great food, then it spells bad things for the nutrition and the well-being of your constituents.
Yeah. The other thing, they took away free lunch for kids. Like I said before, Delaware's the richest county in Ohio. We have over 20,000 kids on the free lunch program that they took away.
Wow.
Last year, I did a kids camp and I got the food cover. I did it for 2 weeks. I don't know what I was thinking. Never do 2 weeks again. I love kids, but oh my God, that was just too much. But I got lunch covered. I went to different restaurants in the city and I got these restaurants to sponsor to make lunch for us and everything. A few days I didn't have covered, but I had the school to fall back on because they were handing out lunches every day.
Right.
So a couple of the days we went to the school and they had turkey sandwiches or peanut butter and jelly or whatever, and vegetables and chips and drinks and stuff. And I saw so many families there. And now these people don't have anything. That just really breaks my heart. There's a lot of need. Like I said, 1 in 10 people are struggling. But again, you need to work hard. And I get that. People are unemployed for different reasons, whether it's medical or family challenges. You just don't know. You can't just, get a job. You don't know what is preventing them from that. Transportation. It's not like we live in New York where you can just hop on the subway. There's so many different dynamics to it. And it's important that we help people when they need it. Doesn't mean to have programs that people are just reliant on it and stay on it forever, but we need to have things available when people need it, and then a pathway for improvement and advancement.
I think there's several things as I hear you, and again, these are FedGov things. One is what I hear you advocating for is a social safety net, right, for folks that lose their jobs or get seriously ill or whatever, and their income falls away. So they need a social safety net.
People weren't having to work 2 and 3 jobs to barely get by. Maybe they could have that emergency fund.
Well, no, absolutely.
If people learned about financial literacy, maybe they would manage their money differently. So those are things that I think that we need to incorporate in our education system as well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, absolutely correct. I was going to say, even with a social safety net, you need to have jobs that pay you a living wage, right? Because a lot of people say, well, you can go to work for McDonald's or fast food. But as even those organizations would say, unless you're a manager of a McDonald's restaurant, or an owner, of course, they view the people in those roles as that's a transitory employment. It's just for a short period of time. It's not for a life. And it's certainly for a lifetime. There's certainly no real growth plan or growth opportunities. And it's really not, it's a part-time job. It's designed to make a little extra money, but it's not about being paid a living wage. So to your point that you made earlier about what does the 4th District need, and this is why I think you've talked about the CHIPS Act and the semiconductor facilities that are now being built north of Columbus as opposed to in the 4th District. Clearly, those jobs associated with that factory, the fabrication facility, are above the mean in terms of delivering income. The incomes that will be produced are well above the mean and would make a profound and life-changing difference in the lives of people, which again is something that the representative of the 4th District needs to advocate for. But these are all things that, again, if you take, as you're doing, this holistic view of the 4th District and looking at where the pain points are, and then asking the question, what can the federal government do to help my constituents, right?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot more than it's doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
No wonder people are frustrated and angry because he's not doing anything for them. So they are not feeling the effects of an effective government that works. And no wonder they're pissed off. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I am too.
So let's talk about, besides getting out and voting, what can people do in the 4th District to help your campaign and help your campaign? So let's just open-ended question. What can they do if they reach out to info@tammywilson.com? What kinds of assistance can people provide that can help push you across the line as a winner in this contest in November?
We have many volunteer opportunities for people that live in the district or outside of the district, because we have volunteers all across the nation that are very invested in my race. Quite frankly, I feel that I have the most important congressional race in the country. I am taking on the most dangerous man in Congress. Lauren and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're loud and obnoxious and annoying, but Jim Jordan, he actually has some power. Like I said, he's the head of the Judiciary Committee. So I feel that I'm in the most important race in the country, for congressional race. And then Sherrod Brown, he's in the most important senatorial race. But there's many ways that people can volunteer remotely or in person, and they can go to my website, and there is a volunteer button that they can click on and fill out the form. And then there's many options, whether it's doing phone banking or following me on social media and reposting my posts. Just there's so many opportunities to volunteer. They live here and they want to canvass or do mailers. There's so many things that they can do to help the race.
And they could also donate cash.
Oh, yes, please donate. The max donation now has been raised to $3,300. It's not $2,900 anymore. So feel free to give the whole amount.
Absolutely. And for people who've not studied these races before, first of all...
let me just say, now that you said that, sorry, Mark, I can definitely beat Jim Jordan. 70% of the district is made up of independents. 70%.
Wow.
That more than doubles the Republicans and Democrats put together. So I know when people are watching the news, oh, Ohio's so red, you would think it was 99.9% Republican, but it's not. In general, Ohio is 54% red and 45% blue, but in reality, most of it are independents because people are just not so hardcore straight red or straight blue. People feel different things about different issues. I feel it's important to be financially conservative in some areas and then also socially responsible. Yeah, I think that's really important. And so 53% of the district is new to Jim Jordan, and a lot of people just do not like him. They don't like him. A lot of people don't even know who he is, which totally baffles me. I'm like, my God, do you live under a rock? How do you not know who this guy is? But there is a pathway to victory here because a lot of people are frustrated. They're angry and frustrated that their lives are in the state that they're in. And my thing is, well, you've had this guy for 17 years and it hasn't gotten better. It's time for a change. It's time for someone new.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tammy, this has been really educational and informative. And everything from the needs that you've identified to what you just said about the number of independents that are in the 4th District is eye-opening. And you're exactly right. There is a pathway to victory, but the word has to get out, not only about the monumental ineffectiveness of the guy that I call Do Nothing Jordan, but the opportunity to put someone in office, yourself specifically, who has listened to the constituents, has concrete ideas of how to improve the well-being and the lives of people in the 4th District in ways that are concrete and relevant, timely, and doable. This isn't dreams. These are things that can happen. So that's exciting. But so any final thoughts for our listeners as we end this episode? Anything you want to leave them with?
Yeah, please sign up to volunteer. Please donate. Please follow me on social media. I'm on all of the social media platforms at Tammy, Tamie, U.S. Congress. That's my handle for most of them, except for TikTok. It's Tammy for Ohio. But yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity to talk with you and share my thoughts and feelings and ideas about things. And I just really care about people, all people, and I've always been that way. And I just really want to help make a positive difference.
That's marvelous. That's marvelous. Thank you for spending time with us. And obviously, all the best in your race. And I will move outside of my normally neutral position and say, I hope you beat the pants off Jordan.
Yes, you can't wait. You cannot wait.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Tammy.
Thank you.
I'm Mark Good. You've been listening to my Remarkable podcast. For more episodes like this, as well as premium content, visit my site, markgood.substack.com.